Reminds me of how our Lord reaches out to those we might shun or meet. You see, Christ hears a lot of criticism because he spends time with sinners. Typically, the bad people were tax collectors and wine bibbers and Sabbath breakers and folks ignoring Jewish marriage customers and thieves and those throwing away their lives in riotous living. Still, Jesus hangs around them, those who have other gods before him, those who commit crimes with virtually no pangs of conscience, those who see themselves as morally superior to sinners. This Jesus. To be sure, now the Pharisees and scribes do have a right to be concerned. The Pharisees dedicate themselves to hear this, living right and doing the right thing. They do study God's law, eating and drinking and walking and working in the light of law, fit their understanding how to act 24/7, like mothers who caution their children not to talk with strangers or run around with the wrong company. You see, Pharisees believe that one should not associate it with sinners, that at least in part. You see, contamination was the issue. What sinners do and how they live when they transgress the law may rub off on anyone who relates to them. And so they feared instead of becoming more Christ-like, running with the wrong crowd may encourage the faithful to turn their back on God. This seems to be what disturbs the Pharisees most about Jesus, except him helping folks on the Sabbath. How could he do that? They seem to say Jesus plays fast and loose with those known sinners. Hence the question is it good business? Is it good business to bring together in one place saints and sinners? What do you think? What do you think? Certainly not in here, huh? Or should Christ risk the criticism and ongoing complaints of those religious leaders who know the law? Who know the book of discipline? Who know the Bible? Etc., etc., etc. So that, well, let's stop there. Truthfully, the church is the place for sinners and saints. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Everybody needs God's amazing grace, even the righteousness of Pharisees and scribes. Yes, the Pharisees and the scribes were out of order, grumbling about Jesus taking time with sinners. You say, Bishop, what do you mean? How do you tell Jesus who to talk to, who to make the object of his love, and who to save? How do you tell our Lord to change the story of the prodigal son? Love the one who remained faithful and hate the one who messed up. How do you tell our Lord to forgive the thief on the cross and not forgive the woman a few men wanted stoned to death because she was caught in the act of adultery? Would God support language of loving saints but not sinners? Forbid it, Almighty God. I think Crosby's hymn is spot on. Rescue the perishing. Listen, care for the dying. Snatch them in pity from sin and the grave. Weep o'er the erring ones. Lift up the fallen. Tell them of Jesus the mighty to save. Now, what intrigued me about Luke's gospel today is the way Christ dealt with the grumbling of the Pharisees and the scribes. Instead of arguing with them, he simply tells them stories about the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the lost son, namely the prodigal son. Hence, our Lord critiques that part of human nature willing to cut our losses too quickly. Why go after one sheep when you've got 99 safe and sound? Why sweat the loss of one silver coin when 9 are left? If your child has thrown away his or her life in riotous living, why welcome them home with a big feast? You know what we say out there in parlance sometimes. He or she made his bed or her bed. Let them do what? Lie in it or sleep in it. Why worry about the indigent Palestinians on the West Bank when the poor right under our noses in America? We do so because we serve a God who compels us to help the least of these all over the world. Do it because it's right, because it's what Jesus would do, because we have been there. And I say this, you know, sometimes we say, well, let that one stay out there. But the problem is this: But what if that one person is you? What if that one person is you out there in that ocean? What if that one person is you under that mound of debris? Wouldn't you want somebody to come and save you? Or at least try?